Hello, hello. Wow, my mic looks a little loud. Let's bring that down a bit. Hi, Pinecone. Nice to see you. Think we're all good, I think. Yeah, skipped a week for reasons. Very, very logical reasons, actually. Nothing dramatic for a change. Hi. We back. Streaming on Twitch, YouTube, Owncast, and PeerTube as per usual. And I have a new screen configuration. I've been doing work, of course. I'm always changing how all this works. Hello, Fozzie! On Owncast, nice to see you. Yeah, so I switched around some monitors because of some stuff I'm planning on doing for Owncast streams in the office. And so I now have a 32-inch monitor here in the studio, which is real nice. I had it in the office, and then I moved it because I needed a smaller monitor in the office. So now I have a nice big monitor to watch this, and I have a separate screen just for Owncast and PeerTube chat. So everything's much more comfortable and less cramped and easier to manage. Fozzie on Owncast, there is a new movie with puppets coming to German movie theaters in the near future. There's been a TV show with puppets from the 80s. Very excited about that. I suspect it's going to be some kind of Muppet parody. I have no idea. It's the first I'm hearing of it, but I'm guessing. Puppets from the 80s, come on. Hi, Joe. Nice to see you. So yeah, we skipped last week because there was literally nothing to do on stream. I was working on a commission, and I had some fleece on order that if it had showed up, there would have been plenty to do. But since it got delayed in shipping, literally the only thing I could do with the build that I was working on was hand sewing. It was a furry live hands monster. And so that was literally what I spent last Wednesday doing, and doing a build stream where it's just me hand sewing. What's the point? Yeah, we can sit around and chat, I guess, but no one's gonna get anything out of that. And it's some work for me to, stream and also do that. So it was just like, you know what, we'll just skip it, because that's just the way it goes. But we're back. I got stuff to do this week, so. But I'm also having a slightly more, last week was pretty frantic. This week it's slightly more relaxed. I had a shot here. I think my camera changed position. I'm low in the frame. Little goblin-y creature now. Yeah, we very nearly didn't get to stream on Owncast and PeerTube today because I don't know. Some of you may be aware that we had a pretty big storm here in Toronto yesterday. Torrential rains, whole chunks of the city were flooded, and a large percentage of the city lost power. So we had power go out here for like 2 hours. It wasn't too bad. But what that meant was, of course, here's the Achilles heel of self-hosting things. Everything that I'm self-hosting, of course, went down because it's literally boxes around my apartment. So PeerTube server went down, the Owncast server went down, and several services that I run internally for me also went down. Like I run a search engine instance that I use instead of Google, because of course, and Invidious, which is a YouTube front end that you can escape ads. I also run that just for me personally. Whole bunch of stuff, little things internally. And I couldn't access any of it, even though I still had cell phone service. So when it all came back up, which should have been fine, there was some weirdness with the machine that's responsible for building out IP addresses, or for updating the dynamic IP address, just wasn't reading my new external IP address, and so I had to like triage that. It was a lot to shreds, you say. Yes, exactly. So anyway, the practical upshot of that is I did get all of that sorted, so we are going out into all of the places now, which is nice because I like self-hosting things and it's fun and it's empowering. So yeah, but puppets, eh? So what are we doing today, Kevin, you ask? Today, so I finished a commission just on Monday. That was a lot of fun. And if you're on the Discord, you know what that was. That the blue furry, very Frankie-like troll-ish character that that was a private commission. It's getting taken to the post office today. And so it's in the box. I can't show you. But if you go to the Discord, you'll see it. And I'll probably also post a picture on Instagram for something to post this week, because otherwise I don't think I'll have much. And I am waiting to hear back from a client for a commission for next week. So I'm kind of in a holding pattern at the moment. So I'm just going to do a couple of smalls this week, just because they're crowd pleasers and they generally sell well and they're easy. So we're just doing smalls. I know I've done smalls on stream dozens of times, but this is just what I'm doing. That's the build stream. Pausing on Owncast. The movie is not about the Muppets. The show is about Spencer, a puppet who serves as the mayor of a town with a lot of different puppet characters. It's run for over 20 years. Oh, that's cool. Oh, okay. I see. This is me with my North American bias, right? That's excellent. That's neat. You post links or something. I don't know if, I guess on Owncast you can, and I can like forward the link to the other chats if you've got one. That's cool. Always good to see puppet folks getting work. That's important. Keep it alive, everybody. It's alive and well. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, so I'm just gonna have my coffee and we're gonna get going. I got some stuff prepped here. So today for the build stream, I'm just gonna be putting together a couple of the foam and mouth plate bodies for smalls. That's the plan. So it might be a short one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. We're going with the flow. We're not putting too much pressure. Because next week, if I hear back from the client, it's been a couple days, so it's always like, is this person going to respond? But it's going to be a couple of Greeblies next week, which I know I keep doing the same things over and over again. I really want to do something new. I'm itching to do something I haven't done a million times before. So that's on the agenda. It's a trade-off for me always, because I want to do the things that I know people are going to want, obviously, because I need to make money to keep the puppet thing going. My business got to run. I got to pay the rent. So I need to make things that I know people are going to want to buy. And I like them as well. So it's all nice. But if I spend all my time doing that, it means I'm not prototyping new things, and I really want new things. I don't like doing the same things over and over again. So we'll see. I don't have any great inspirations at the moment. All I know is I want to do something new. So we'll see. However, next month, beginning of next month, there is a commission that I'm going to be starting that is something absolutely brand new that I haven't done before for an existing client. I haven't got permission yet to talk about it, so I can't go into detail, fortunately, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be neat and something brand new. So that's cool. So anyway, we should probably get to building the puppets. So there's going to be a lot of danger honey today. We're going to start with cutting these things out, and then I got to get to the barge right away. So lots of mask wearing, unfortunately. And we're almost done the coffee, so of course, the Mr. Rogers like ritual, get the lozenges so I can keep talking. We are definitely for sure 100% guaranteed recording the podcast this Friday. We had to skip last week. I had things happened at the last minute. So, yeah, let's see if this will work. I had to rebuild I have to tear down and redo the whole streaming setup from scratch again. There's so many things have changed that a lot of stuff is built on top of other stuff, and I need to just start fresh. So hopefully, like there was a little jank. You saw the picture-in-picture thing up in the corner. There's a lot of stuff I gotta fix. We got children screaming outside as usual. So anyway, I got some smalls prepped here. Here's the mouth plates. I already got the finger loops in the mouth plates. That's ready to go. These are 3D printed. So I gotta cut out the smalls. I just did like a rough cut on the foam, and so now we gotta do the fine trimming with the probably dull razor blade. I know every time I pull out a razor blade, I say that this is probably dull. And it probably is. And the reason for that is, if you think about it, pretty obvious. When I'm cutting stuff, so I go through like at least one, usually more than one razor blade per puppet. That's just standard. Because nothing dulls a razor blade like foam. And you need these to be nice and sharp to be able to do the precision cuts. So of course, when I'm finished cutting, I don't then go and replace the blade. I just put the blade back in the little safety container and move on. So the next time I go to get that blade, it's probably dull. So that's why every time I grab a blade, I go, this is probably going to need to be replaced, because that's when I replace them. This when I start. So I have a major headache. I'm just realizing how bad that is. Oof. Ow. We've had wacky weather, and I'm sure that's part of what's going on. I also finally made it to the allergy clinic. Guess what? I'm the least allergic person in the universe. Which is not really good news, believe it or not, because it still doesn't explain what the heck is going on with my head. I have to revisit this with my doctor. Yes, old man complains about his health. What a surprise. Hey, Demon Dreamer, nice to see you. So this is from Fozzie on Owncast. Thank you, Fozzie. Oh, I have the wrong... You'll have to excuse me for a minute. I'm actually using two different computers for this. So let me copy that. Oh gosh, I need to get to the Owncast or the Restream chat. Oops, I'm not logged in on this machine. It's gonna take a minute. Can he do it? Oh, okay. I gotta get through a CAPTCHA, which I'm not doing at the moment. Thank you, Fozzie. I'll get that link posted on the Discord. Oh, you know what? Oh, that's where I can post it. No, because I'm not logged into Discord on this either. Wait. I have an idea. This is how I make money way more complicated for myself than it needs to be. I'll just go to the Owncast chat on this machine. Copy that link and paste it into this chat. There we go. Everybody should be able to see that now. That on Owncast, that Scooter joining and leaving the chat, that was me. So there we go. Thank you, Fozzie. I haven't vetted that link, FYI, so, you know, use your own discretion. I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, anyway. Puppets, huh? Joe Weatherford, at my mom's suggestion, I keep a used water bottle for my discarded razor blades. What I used, yeah, you're basically doing the same thing as me. This is like a homemade sharps container, right? See, sharp things, warning, be careful. And this is why this is an old nut tin. And I just fill this up, and when this is full, seal it up with tape, and this gets thrown away in the garbage. Never throw a naked blade, as it were. Kevin Blades, get it? You see, it's a joke. Yeah, never just throw a razor blade into the garbage. You will risk having people cut themselves who have to handle the garbage. Be nice to your sanitation workers. So here we go. This blade is actually okay. I must have replaced it when I was near done. Galloway Lights, hello on YouTube. Sorry I missed that a little while ago. I have a lot of plates to spin as I'm doing this, so I will occasionally miss stuff. You'll notice Kevin didn't go into his usual "please don't steal my patterns" spiel. I think you probably heard that enough. Don't do it. That's it. Just don't steal patterns. Don't steal. Don't steal. How about that? Here's a thought. I know it's an alien concept in this era of venture capitalism to not steal other people's things, but unless they're giant corporations, go ahead and fill your boots. I'm only partly kidding. I am making two smalls. Patrick, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're getting the band back together. I'm actually getting low on foam again. I keep making all these puppets. Cuttlefish Studio, hello on Twitch, right? Yes, Twitch. Folks is showing up for the puppets. We love it. Feel the blade getting dull already. You see, once it starts to sort of drag, and see how it's pulling down the foam like that, that's when you know it's starting to get dull. It should just glide through like no effort. Like that. Just because I turned it around. Always be aware as you're doing this kind of thing of where your fingers are in relation to each other and the blade. Very important. If you've got good kitchen knife skills, I find that they actually translate. I have okay kitchen knife skills, so it's all a matter of like, A, not being afraid of the blade, but also sort of making it just like an extension of your senses, right? So you're always aware of where it is. Mindfulness in puppet building and in life. You see, there we go. It's starting to pull. It means it's gonna be time to replace this. Three-hitter. No, it's two puppets. I usually do everything in batches. Unless I'm working on a commission, and I usually focus on just the one thing at a time. These are just standard shop builds. These are going to be going up for sale hopefully on Friday. I thought for a moment as I was setting up for the stream today, I thought for a moment that the power outage had actually claimed a victim here in the shop, because the GoPro that's responsible for the wide angle shot was dead, like not responding at all to anything. I tried to pull the battery, because you gotta have a battery in it to make it run. Unfortunately, it's long. Like the batteries last for like 5 minutes now. It's been sitting there plugged in for so long, which is a bad thing. Don't do that. Keep your batteries in good condition. But it looks like when I put the battery in, I accidentally tucked the little ribbon that you use to pull the battery out underneath it, so I can't get the battery out at all. I'm gonna have to like get in there with a screwdriver or something and pry it out at some point. There's a lot. Rainer McFarland, just tuning in from the gym again. Good to see you. Nice. Yeah, I gotta get back to the gym. I haven't been skipping the gym. I just haven't been going as much as I should. Things have been busy. I usually don't get to the gym on Wednesdays because this stream actually takes up a lot of time, and by the time I'm done this, I am deranged. So if I have something to take to the post office, like if I've got some puppets to take to the post office, I usually try and save that for Wednesdays because it at least gives me an excuse to go for a walk, which is exactly what I'm doing today. But yeah, I need something to watch at the gym. Okay, I think this blade might be time. It's actually starting to tear little chunks, which we don't like. Hot glue a ribbon to the GoPro battery. You know what? That's not a bad idea. I'm a little bit wary about putting something hot on a battery though. That's you know, I don't know. Last thing I need is for my ancient GoPro to explode on me. But thankfully, I don't know what happened, but I managed to get the GoPro to boot again. So, you know, so that's what, let's see if it's still working. Yes, it's still working. So that's the GoPro up there. So, yeah, it's not a bad angle actually. Let's see everything. This is better. He keeps talking about replacing the blade, and yet he keeps going. I don't know. What's wrong with this guy? No, we did it. Fozzie, nice. If I like to post on Mastodon, it shows the message here in chat. It does indeed, which is very cool. Thank you, Gabe. And oh, Gabe from Owncast. I don't imagine that he'll ever see this, but Gabe, who's the developer on Owncast, has COVID and he feels terrible. I hope you get well soon. I still have yet to get it. And I'm also still masking in public. Gina from Octoprint was posting about that on Mastodon this morning. I gave her a fellow masking fist bump. That's right. Honestly, I think it's the only good thing to come out of the pandemic is that it kind of broke the social taboo on hygienic masks in public. The second I realized that was a thing in Asia, I'm like, why aren't we doing that here all the time? Like every time I get on public transit, you know, I not only just don't want COVID, I don't even want to get sick. I know that sounds wild, but I just don't want to get sick. It's not good. It's not fun. I am also diabetic and I have comorbidity. So if I get COVID, that could be a problem. So, yep, still masking. That's me. Is the camera director on holiday? Oh, I wish I had a camera director. Believe me, it's just me. It's just me and the Stream Deck here. hitting buttons, going to other camera positions, going to, there we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. Look at that. That looks great. Why does that look so good? I don't know. You know, who knows? I should have kept it on this angle. This is really good. You can see my shirt too. We'll go here. Okay, there we go. They're all cut out. So it's time for the Danger Honey. This tin is almost done and old and crusty, as you can see. But still enough in there to do this, I'm sure. And I think I'm gonna get some new gloves. I keep trying to recycle the gloves because I just like to not use stuff up too much because it's, you know, wasteful. I try to put as little in the landfill as possible. That's one thing, you know, puppet building in general is really not eco-friendly pastime. It's really everything is like, you know, foam is a petroleum product. Like, maybe that's an experiment. Can we do sustainable puppet building? What would we do? How would we handle that? That's an interesting challenge. I'm not sure it's solvable, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so it's time to get the mask out, which means I get to be Bane again. Citizens of Gotham, can you identify my accent? Well, I am telling you, with this headache, having bars around is not going to be fun. Now, you know what? Let me hit this with a little heat so I can open the tin first. Biodegradable puppets, no thanks. Yeah, that would be a bad idea. I guess, like, you know, sponge, like actual sea sponges, you could use for foam, which is a kind of gruesome thought when you think about it. I mean, that's what sponges used to be. Oh, yeah, mic's on. Okay. Greg the Bunny, nice to see you. Hello. As I'm putting the mask on. The glasses are the worst part of this. Just getting them to stay in any kind of usable position. Okay, I think I'm good. I think I can see things. The fan is going, FYI. I don't know if you can see that with the light cam. You can just see the bottom of it. This here, that's the bottom of the fan right there. Doing Bane impressions, yes! Citizens of Gotham! Here's my thinly veiled socialist reference. Barge. Barge, huh? All right, here we go. Getting your barge on. And you think animal rights people got upset over ostrich feathers? Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point. What if we did nothing but a cruelty-filled puppet? How about that? Pinocchio would be kind of a sustainable puppet. You're right, Fozzie. Wood would be. The problem with wood is it's heavy. I know, this is probably some kind of like product you can make from corn silk or something that would be an acceptable foam. I'm curious now. I would really like to know. Is there such thing as a sustainable
foam. Just for intellectual curiosity, if nothing else. I can hear you all furiously Googling. Google's AI assistant trying its best to understand what the heck you're talking about. And failing. I did this slightly backwards. I should have done the dart first, but oh well. Oh well, we're here now. Use recycled foam under carpets, yeah? That's a kind of recycling. No, I always miss one edge. I don't know why. It's just my brain that is wrong. We are making a couple of smalls. Greg the Bunny. This is, smalls are neat because they're unibody. They're all one piece. There isn't a separate head and body. I'll do the whole thing. I'll do the dart. Darts are easier to do if you do them first. Because you can fold things out and hold things. As you glue, of course, you just get wet glue more places, and so you have fewer options about where to hold things. Oy, my head is hurting. Don't like this roller coaster air pressure. Bad. Not a day I really want to be breathing in barge fumes. Which, thankfully, thanks to the respirator, I am not. Mostly. Oops. There we go. Like the Bunny, I've been trying to catch your stream for weeks. Glad I was able to get over to see you live. Yes, I'm glad too. And as a loyal podcast listener, I know you will be pleased to hear that we are definitely recording on Friday. Come hell or high water, no matter what. I don't care if it's just me. Actually, I was the one that canceled last week, so I shouldn't say that. No matter what, there will be a new Pixels and Puppets Saturday morning. And as usual, we got tons to talk about. We keep on delaying it. I mean, it's partly just because it's summer, right? But we keep on delaying it, and because we keep on delaying it, there keeps being more stuff to talk about that we should cover And this is why we haven't done the games we love part. Because that's the one that's movable, right? That's not time dependent or anything. We can always just defer that. And I don't really want to go over 2 hours for the podcast, but that seems like a lot. We could, believe me, we can talk. I've had people complain about the 2-hour podcast, so we're pushing it there already. The activated charcoal is taking a glue hit. Yep. Greg the Bunny is getting a little preview of the podcast because I will be talking about this build, among others. This is where it gets tricky because I don't want to get it around places you don't want. Barge control, it's a whole skill. It really is. You have to get a feel for the viscosity. Something that only comes with experience. I will say this was a very unusual tin of barge, which sounds odd, and it is odd, but they've always been the same, except this one. The color was not nearly as opaque as it usually is. It was much more transparent, and it didn't have anywhere near the odor. Hull's fine. There's nothing wrong with the adhesion. It was just like they changed the formula or something. Probably for the better. Not putting out as many toxic fumes seems like a good thing. But it was weird. I have another unopened tin. I'll be curious to see what that's like. Not quite there yet. I've never had that before. Every tin of barge I've opened has been the same stuff inside, and this was different. The same tin, same pipe. Very odd. Dear barge, people who make barge. Who does make barge? Probably barge. Barge Cements Incorporated, yep. Barge does make barge. Cow surprise. Kind of weird to see a company that actually makes the thing it's named after in this era of companies that own companies that own companies that own companies. What does a company even mean anymore? Nothing. A tax dodge, that's what it means. Okay, there we go. That is all of the gluing. So you see what I do is I stack them up. So the oldest one is on the bottom. How long does the can last? It depends, obviously, on how much you use it. I use it a lot, obviously, because I do this every day. And a couple of months, possibly 3 months seems to be about average, which is pretty good. You don't use a lot every time, so it's not bad. It's expensive, but of course it lasts a long time. So anyway, so you see I stack them up, put the oldest one on the bottom, because that way I know this is the one that's dry and ready to go. So when I put them together, flip the pile, take them off the top. Almost like I've done this before. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Not that I'm complaining. All right, so there we go. First thing we do is the darts. Oh, and make sure we've got the two halves correctly mirrored. Yes, we do. There we go, closing up the darts. Little dart closing music, if you would, Maestro. Chopin's Concerto for Dart Closure in E flat. You can use the dart in the top of the head here as a guide. Make sure it's nice and symmetrical. Oh, see, I forgot. I missed an edge right there. I always do that. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's almost like I'm busy or something. Madness. All right, let's go hit this with a hairdryer. Okay, that should be all right. Let's see. There we go. And just close the patient. So I'm doing a seam like this that I can get underneath. I like to support it underneath with one hand and then close it, pinch it closed to the other. You save your bloopers. Well, all of this stuff gets archived, so I guess yes. If the camera is on, it's getting saved. I figure if you're on Twitch, it's up to you to clip the bloopers. YouTube doesn't have clips, does it? I don't think it does. But you know what it does have? Ads. So many ads. All right, there we go. One small-ish Gotta put the mouth plates in, but that's second. Now, before we do this, let's make sure I got all of the edges glued. Yes, I did. Okay. I was inadvertently correct, which is the best kind of correct. This is my case. We're getting through this real fast, and this was all I had planned to do on stream. After this, I gotta decide on the fabrics, so we can at least go into that. Maybe we can cut them out or something. I don't know. I'm thinking about, well, at least one of these is going to be fleece, and I'm actually thinking about hand sewing a lot of it because it's going to be polar fleece. I like to hide the seam as much as possible, which you cannot do on a machine, particularly with polar fleece. Maybe we could just start that. Actually, that's not a bad idea. We can do that. This is the conversations that are going in my head all the time. So for one of them, I'll show you in a second. I got some new fleece in, and one of them's a really neat color, and I'm thinking of that. It's like a khaki green, like an olive green. And I think it might be interesting, and I've never done I've never done anything in that color. After this, the mouth plates in. How long have we been going? There we go. Oh, almost an hour. That's not too bad. Time flies when you're running your mouth off. Hey, it's a good thing I do, otherwise there'll be a silent stream. Nobody wants that. That's the opposite of a stream. Okay, here we go. Two boys ready for their mouth plates. There's the busy place. You know, it really is. There's the reason I have puppet characters, because they all live here. You'll notice how frequently Frankie comes out. Okay, I'm gonna put the barge on the mouth plates first. So the taller one is the top, unless of course I want, depends on overbite or underbite, right? So if I want an overbite, you know, Simpson style, there we go with the small one on the bottom. If I want underbite, like what? I don't know. Like a Homestar Runner, the guy from Homestar Runner has an underbite. And a big one on the bottom. Maybe I should do one of these with an underbite. You know what? We're going to do it. One has an overbite, one has an underbite. Sudden decisions are always the best. Let's put some glue along the edge. Because one of these I'm thinking of doing with the fleece, and the other one's going to be fur. There we go. I'm just start running name drop. Classic internet content. I mean, come on. Trogdor? You can't go wrong. The fact that that was what was first in my head when I thought underbite tells you a lot about my head. I see Ozoned in the Oncast chat. Nice to see you. Like that kids show where they did the whole magic mirror thing. All right, let's do this one Overbite. And the other we will do Baron von Underbite. We're just doing references today. It's reference day. I didn't tell you all ahead of time, but it is. There we go. And yes, there is a gap here. That's intentional. He's a nice loose jaw. There we go. Hello. All right, that's one. So that was the Overbite. So this one's going to be the Underbite. Honestly, if I'm gonna do I think I want to do the furry one with the underbite. And I want to do it green as well. I don't know that I have any green fur, or at least not enough. Maybe. Is it Underbite? Yes. Okay. Gotta end this gluing soon. I feel the need for a lozenge. Thankfully, this is the last of it. So there'll be a small one on top and a big one on the bottom. Thereby creating an underbite. That's the secret of this design. The links on the top and the bottom of the mouth are the same. And it conforms to whatever mouth plate I put on it. Shh. It's the length of the mouth plate that determines overbite or underbite. Or no, Neither bite. Even bite. The puppet wants to keep his mouth open. They all do. It's like an entire like rack of screaming Muppets behind me. I had an underbite when I was little and almost needed braces for it. Wow. I'm now remembering some forensic anthropology, which is a thing I do, specifically regarding overbites and underbites. Oh, I'm glad to be done with that. Got a big red marks on my face now. I think this was an Alice Roberts special. Dr. Alice Roberts, forensic archaeologist and anthropologist. One of the ways they can date skulls is if they have an overbite or an underbite. Because until we developed forks specifically, generally speaking, people's teeth met evenly. But because we started using utensils, we were able to cut the food in smaller bits, and so we weren't tearing it with our teeth, which is what keeps them, like you need the teeth to meet to be able to cut the food properly. But if you're using tools to do that with, so not just forks, but like implements in general, then the jawline can evolve differently. And then we're just using the back teeth for grinding, but the cutting is actually done with tools. And that's one of the ways you can date skulls. I think that's unbelievably cool. I just love stuff like that. I'm a big old science nerd, what can I say? You have dreams of your puppet coming alive? No, because they're already alive in my head. Rent free, as the kids say. I took off those gloves way too soon. Oh boy, oh well. This is all pretty much dry. There we go. And so now, see? Nice underbite. That's just because my fingers were there. It's more symmetrical than that. Yeah, the music is Stream Tunes. This is one of the few things you could actually use on the internet without getting DCMA'd. I think it's fairly neutral. It's not what I would listen to ordinarily, but it's safe. There we go. Here are our two smalls. Ozone on Owncast. Well, so my name is Kevin. I don't have my lower third up here. We can go here. Kevin Blades is my actual name. So Kevin is good, and yeah, it goes well. We're making the puppets. I'm not reading that out loud, Galloway. All right, Galloway asks, how does one position fingers in the head of the puppet? I'm paraphrasing. The actual answer is there are finger loops. Actually, here we go.
Sorry for standing up here, but here we go. This is how I do it. There are several ways, but let's go to the, yeah, here we go. So these are what my mouth plates are like. I 3D print them, and I put a little bracket, and then I feed a leather loop, and that leather loop, and then I stitch it together, and then that leather loop acts as finger loops, and they kind of anchor the fingers on like that to the mouth plates. So that's how. So there is an answer to your question. Ha ha ha. Mr. Funny Person. So there we go. There is. Oh, wrong camera. Ba-doom boom. 2 smalls, one with an overbite, one with an underbite, ready to go. So now we get to talk about fabrics, and I get to finish my coffee. Ooh. It is a good question. It is genuinely a good question. Leia! Dink got me a job. Yeah, Dink is Leia's goblin puppet that they designed themselves. For your mouth plates, are they TPU? These ones are not. These ones are PLA because they're rigid. I do also do ones at TPU, and those are for the flexible ones. Let me show you those. I got a couple of those ready to go here. Here we go. Let's see, here we go. Yeah. So these are the same mouth plate style, they're slightly different shape because these are Greeblies. But these are printed in TPU, which is a flexible filament. So it means they're rubbery. You can flex, and they're quite thin as well. But they also have the bracket that's printed in there, so I can put a finger loop in there. And yeah, so these are TPU, and these are PLA. And so these are rigid, and these are flexible. But it's very nice. I love the thing about TPU though is it takes forever to print. Literally, like a pair of Greebly mouth plates can take 10 hours. It's one of those just set it up and go away. Just leave it for the day because it takes forever. I really have to plan ahead. But that's okay because I always plan ahead. Any puppetry advice in chat? Good. Yes, there's a whole thing about flipping the lid or dropping the jaw, right? Have to head off. Have a great one. Thank you, Ozone. Nice to see you. Appreciate you dropping by. So, generally speaking, it is a good practice to, and I talk about this in my really old video about camera puppetry. You can find it as a playlist on both YouTube and PeerTube. It is generally a good practice to, when you're performing a puppet, always drop the jaw, don't flip the lid, right? Because that's just how jaws work. You know, the top of your head isn't always going up and down. It's your jaw that's dropping all the time. But it is more specifically about maintaining an eye line. That is the important thing. So some puppets are actually very difficult to drop the jaw just because of how they're physically constructed. In fact, I find more often than not, it's more difficult to drop the jaw than flip the lid. Oh, you know who's a good example of that? Yeah. This is a really good example of impossible to drop the jaw. Yes, hello everyone. So, I'm trying to hold the staff up right here. How's he doing that? So you can see, because of the way that the oracle's jaw is angled, the top of his head always just, that's how the puppet wants to perform, right? So what you have to do is you kind of have to compensate by doing a little wrist movement as well. So what you're doing is you're constantly making sure that the character is looking in a specific direction. See? So if you saw what was happening there, the lid is flipping, but I'm also moving the head down as I'm doing that. So all that's important is that you're maintaining the eye focus. That's the big thing. It's not necessarily flipping the lid, it's making sure that the eyes stay in the same place, right? So that's it. That's really the secret to flipping the lid and dropping the jaw. If you can't drop the jaw, move your wrist to make sure that the eyes are staying on a level plane. And there you go. There's your little puppetry tip for today. So, it's been so long. We really need to do another article show, you know, but it's been a bit creatively dry around here, and maybe we should just improv. That'll work, right? No takers, sorry. You're welcome. I'm turning away now. The article has spoken. It has been too long. Oh, I just knocked my hat off. Look, with the oracle. I hate hats. Like a woodpecker motion. Good point. Yeah, it is. It is that very much. So that's also related to the thing that puppeteers call the Henson punch, right? One of the things that Jim Henson, among the many things Jim Henson pioneered, is this kind of frenetic motion, this very, very fluid and active kind of motion. Before that, puppets were just like this. And it was Jim that really introduced this kind of well, it's the Henson punch, right? It's a forward motion, it's projecting stuff. And this is why things like, you know, puppeteers and like mimes and dancers and that whole kind of thing, everybody who kind of understands the language of physical movement, there's a related kind of mentality to it all. And it really helps. There's a lot of cross skills, like across disciplines that translate really well. So it's not just about puppeteering. This is what I keep trying to get across to people. Puppet building or puppeteering, don't stick to your wheelhouse. You know what I mean? Don't stay in the lane. Find other disciplines. Find things that you think aren't related, but you will eventually find that they are. You need to go outside these walls, right? So there's like, you know, stuff I use in puppet building that I learned from like leather tooling, or there's just all kinds of disciplines that that you will develop skills. So just the act of developing a skill itself is useful. Do you think you had any particular sewing method, a stitch perhaps? You're trolling, Leia. Leia's trolling. That's my job. I swear I'll do that video one day. It's all time. It's a matter of just finding the time to do the things. The good news is I now have a teleprompter. I'm actually looking at it right now, and that will aid in the production of said video. Okay, next on the agenda is Kevin getting a lozenge and us deciding on fabrics as I drop the package of lozenges. Greg, the buddy, used to love Animal from the Muppets. Animal's got a good jaw drop. Animal's jaw is very loose, so it's easy to do that, right? So let's go to the top cam. Bossy, it would be so funny if the head of humans go up and down while speaking. Yeah, that would be disconcerting. It would be like South Park. Canadians in South Park. So here's the green. I don't think I have enough of this in single solid pieces to do a whole small. This is the green fur that I would like to do the underbite in, but I got enough for half, but I don't think there's... All this is just little scrappy bits. I don't think... No. Not... Probably not. There may be enough to do the main part of the body, but the lower sleeve I'd have to stitch on separately. I don't know. This is not looking promising. So probably not green. Oh well. Let's see what else we got here. I don't really want to do blue because the blue I have is very, very Cookie Monster. And I don't really want that for this one. We do have this purple. This beautiful plum colored purple. And I have a lot of it. So this is definitely, there's enough of this. Wow, that's really dark on camera. I promise it's not this dark in real life. I locked the ISO of the camera in, and unfortunately it's too dark for this. Let me see if we can. That's a bit better. It's like a plum colored purple. And I got a lot of this. It's so much of this. So I definitely have enough to do that. Yeah, plum it is. Yeah, really by default. I've also got some brown and some gray. Oh, and I got some reddish orange too. You know what? I'm actually thinking the reddish orange, just because it's bright. I'm off camera, I know. I left the camera on a bad angle. Oh, I'm just trying to see how much of this I got. It's literally all in a big pile in the corner here. Oh yeah, there's enough of this. Look at this. This is pretty good. This is what Sullivan, the Magic the Gathering monster, is made out of. Make stripes. Yeah, not naked. Nope, that's time consuming. It's probably going to be orange then. For the one is going to be furry and an underbite, and it's probably going to be the red. So that means this camera is not going to show the color right. What do we got for fleece here? Okay, some blue. Some orange. And this is the green. That's not bad actually. That's pretty close to IRL. This is the kind of olive green. I think I like this a lot. I think it's gonna go, yeah. The decision's made. I'm not even waiting. It's gonna be the green. This is nice. I like this a lot. Let's put these small innards in a safe place up here. There are some dedicated stripe furs. Oh yeah, no, I you know, I've worked with the rainbow fur quite a lot. Yeah, you can get pre-striped fur, but if you want specific colors, you have to make it yourself. So let me see here. I got fur all over me now. It's from digging in the fur pile. That sounds bad. Don't quote me on that. Okay. Well, oh, what just fell down? Ah, one of the smalls just fell down. Good thing they're resilient. You know, they're made of foam. They bounce. There we go. That's a pretty decent stretch too. Orange Stoneface subscriber. Nice. Thank you for the sub. That looks like my childhood blanket. A lot of this stuff is the kind of thing that you would. Oh, hang on. How much of this do we have? You glance. Oh, nothing. I had a little scrap of this. That's too bad. If I had more of this orange, it's not quite as neon in real life as this. I don't have enough of this either. I would do it in this if I had enough, but I don't. Speaking of rainbow, this really is the last of the rainbow fur. And I gotta get more, and that's money. Which is a thing I don't have. Anyway, where are we at here? Hour 15 minutes. We can keep going for a little while, I think. So I gotta get the pattern trace. We're gonna cut the fabric out. This I'm probably gonna hand sew, but the fur I will machine sew. So what I do for fleece, for this kind of thing, is fold it in half. So this is now folded in half. This is the right side in. This is the back. It's small uprising, yeah. I knew one day they'd turn against me. And then I gotta get the pattern. The usual spiel. Please don't steal anyone's patterns. Don't steal anyone's anything. How about that? And I mean, honestly, look at this. It's simple. If you can't make a simple pattern, you should be reevaluating whether you want to make puppets. It sounds harsh, but really. Just don't steal stuff. What determines hand or machine? So it depends on how well I want the seam to be hidden, because it's really hard, if not impossible, to seam blend a machine stitch. And for this kind of fleece, now usually if I'm using Nyla fleece, I'll often do that with a machine because you can still seam blend a little bit. You can't do it quite as well. But on polar fleece, which is what this is, it's pretty much impossible to seam blend a machine stitch. So for something like this, which you're really, really gonna see it, if I have the time, I'll hand sew. Just because it looks nicer and the seam is more hidden. And you're always gonna see it, but it's much easier to seam blend a hand stitched seam. For fur, that doesn't matter because it's fur. It's just, you're not gonna see it anyway. So fur I always do on the machine. I need a marker. Here we are. And this mouth is full width, so I have to add whatever for the inner lip. So I'm just going to trace this out with a slightly darker color. Is that showing up? Yep, that's showing up. And since this fabric is folded in half, I only have to trace it once. And since this is going to be all hand sewn, don't need to add a seam allowance. This is why I need pattern weights. Because this is what I do, I hold it down. Precision is not necessarily my strongest attribute. Like, it's probably my weakest. It's my dump stat. Okay, so because I want an inner lip, and I want quite a large inner lip too. So I'm really gonna go exaggerated with this. But this will determine the gap in the back, how big the inner lining is. So I don't want it that big. In fact, I don't want the lower jaw quite like that. Keep it like that. There we go. That is that. So now I'm gonna pin this all up and then cut it out. Ah, Jamie's on Owncast. Nice. What did you miss? Puppets and stuff. You missed small rain. The small fell from the sky. But it was all right. Everybody survived. We moved past this dark time. Not puppets. No, definitely not puppets. Yes, indeed. I was telling Greg the Bunny on Twitch, who is actually on Twitch. I don't know if you're watching other streams as well, Jamie, but we are recording the podcast on Friday, come heck or high water, as the kids say. As the kids never say. We will cast our pod upon the water, and lo, it shall be whole, etc., etc. I wouldn't throw the high water part of there with the week we had. It's true. Bits of Toronto did get flooded, so come hell. We just got the title of the podcast. That's the new first. Come hell. That'll get some clicks. The more pins you use, the more accurate your seams will be. So since I'm not 100% settled on fur, I gotta dig through Fur Mountain over there and see if I have anything more interesting to do the fur one out of. I'm just gonna cut this out and then start sewing it, which is where we're gonna end, because then it's just me hand sewing all of this. So that's not exactly exciting or educational or enlightening, possibly entertaining. Okay, so I'm just gonna rough cut this, separate it from the, gotta make sure I don't hit the overhead camera. It's literally right at head height here. Fur Mountain, yes. Insert joke here. I don't know if we can see this on the wide angle, actually. Kind of. Here, I'm gonna move this up. So here's the overhead camera. So when I'm leaning in, it's really easy for me to like just go whack. That's why it's on this arm, because I move it back and I'm not streaming. Okay. So now we take the best scissors. The bestest scissors in the whole wide world. Dig through Fur Mountain sounds like an early 90s Disney live action movie. Yeah, with Fred McMurtry, right? There we go. There's a name. Wow, that came out of the database. Woof. Had to dust off that data. That's a name I've not heard in a long time. Listen, Obi-Wan, you changed your first name but not your last, and you thought you were hiding. I don't know what you're thinking. Hello, Dwayne. Nice to see you. Don't forget the dart in the top of the head, Kevin, as you make sure you overpronounce the R so people will know you're Canadian. Okay, there we go. And so now, well, now I'm gonna see if I have any thread that's gonna even kind of match this. That is a legitimate question. Let me see. I was looking at my thread rack up here. Oh, so I have this, but not a lot of it. That's a little dark. What is this? A little bright. That's way too bright. This, also way too bright. This is going to be even darker than that. I'm not sure I have anything that's going to really match this. Oh, hang on. These are all the colors. This is an old box. These are all the colors I've never used. And among them, that's a little dark. It's still pretty close. Probably close enough. Let me just put all this stuff back, the stuff I dropped, because you can't move anything in the studio without knocking something else over, because it's a studio. Tom always doubts with the red color matching, you know. Listen, I understand perfectly that it's a difficult thing to do. Ooh, that's actually not bad match at all. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Here we go. We got a whole spool. I got a whole spool of thread. So now it's just hand sewing. So I'll start, but we're probably gonna end it real soon because this is just me and I gotta hand sew the whole thing, and that's gonna take a couple of hours. So this is usually my podcast listening time, and I actually don't have anything to listen to. I've listened to it all. The habit I picked up, especially with machine sewing, is to cut one part using the pattern, and then use the cut out part as a pattern for the second half. That's interesting. So it makes sure that like whatever little variations you've got will match up. Because that's the thing that people don't generally understand is like all of this stuff being soft materials. Even if you're working with patterns, there's always going to be some variation. Just because stuff is soft and moves and shrinks and stretches, and it's never exactly the same twice. It's what makes it so difficult to make two puppets that look identical. Even the Muppets can rarely manage that. What podcasts do I listen to? Let me get the list. A lot of them are British. And a lot of them are like BBC Sounds ones, so there's a limited run, so there haven't been any in a while. Let's see. Let me get the list of all the podcasts what I listen to. No Such Thing as a Fish, of course, which does weekly. So actually, I think I may have a fish that I haven't listened to yet. Podcast of Unnecessary Detail. That's the Festival of the Spoken Nerd podcast. They do that infrequently. A Problem Squared, which is every 2 weeks, and I just listened to that one. That's Matt Parker and Beck Hill. You're Dead to Me, which is another BBC Sounds podcast, and that's a history comedy podcast. And that comes out, they do it in seasons, so I think they just released one. In fact, that may be one I have. I've got 3 here. So I've got Mary Anning from You're Dead to Me, Some More News, which is the video one, which I save for the gym, and Better Offline, that's the Ed Zitron podcast, and that one just got released too. So here, I got 2 podcasts to listen to. So yeah, the other ones are The Curious Cases of Rutherford and Fry, which is another British science podcast, and they do in seasons as well, and there hasn't been a new one in a while. The Tech Pod, Brad and Will made a Tech Pod, and the Foss Pod. There hasn't been a new Foss Pod in a very long time, and I suspect it's because Google stopped funding them. No confirmation there, that's pure speculation. The Tech Pod is weekly on Sundays, so that's already been listened to. And Pixels and Puppets, which is my own podcast, so I don't really need to listen to that one. Uncharted with Hannah Fry, that's another infrequent one. Some More News, which is the video one, and Better Offline with Ed Zitron, and that's it. So I need more. I generally want like funny stuff. That's the problem. Sad they made the mistake of using my fabric scissors and things that weren't fabric. Ooh, you know. I've done that by mistake a couple of times. Just grabbed whatever because I'm working fast. And so it's really good at the kitchen work. As far as podcasts goes, like OSW, don't know that one. OSW Review, sorry, and Dimension 20. Dimension 20, I assume, is a D&D? Yeah, I keep thinking I should, like, that would be a good podcast / gym watch, is to find like a Let's Play, like a live action, or not live action, but a live play, like a tabletop role-playing campaign or something that I can get into. I just haven't found any that really click with me, so. I used to enjoy the Dollop. I got a little too political and preachy. I agree with them politically, but the soapbox gets tiresome. Yeah, I can sometimes kind of go, well, it's not even that I just get exhausted, right? Like, I absolutely agree. But I just don't constantly need to be reminded about how awful everything is. I totally empathize and understand. I just need a break from that every now and then, right? So that's why I tend to, I've got a couple like, you know, Ed Zitron and Some More News in there that keep me angry for legitimate reasons. But I also need that mental break, particularly when I'm sitting here hand sewing. It's just nice to have something pleasant and funny. It's mostly funny. I need a good laugh. And of course, my particular tastes in humor are exactly that. They're particular. So I don't find a lot of, American humor funny. Sorry, America. But that's why I go for a lot of British podcasts. I know, I'm sure there's more out there. I just have to dig into it. I need more history podcasts. That's what I need. There's no shortage of those. Yeah, sorry, that's mean Ocast. Yeah, I'm in the podcast, so I don't really. Honestly, what I'm editing is, and it's one of the nice things. Like, the guys and I have been doing podcasting for so long. This is gonna sound arrogant. I don't mean it to be, but like, we're used to it. We're good enough at it that there's very little editing I need to do on the podcast. I'm paying attention as the podcast is recording, kind of going, oh, I need to deal with that, which never happens. Like, if somebody comes in the room or something and we get interrupted, that's the kind of thing I have to cut out. We never say anything that's worth editing out, because we're not jerks. Anyway, so I usually just, when I'm editing, this is why I can edit so fast, because I just find the breaks, cut those out, done. We even record all the interstitials and the the intro music and all that stuff. We would just record that live. That's right on the Rodecaster. That's happening as you're hearing it as we're hearing it. So we've got very efficient at the podcasting. So now you'll know, if you're ever listening to the podcast and like the audio levels just get bizarrely weird or something, which probably won't happen, but if it does, that's why. It's because I haven't listened to it. I've been in the room when we're recording. Why would I need to listen to it? It's when you drop a perfect pod in one take, editing is an unnecessary flex. Do you ever do a retraction on a podcast? We do corrections occasionally. We'll find something that we got wrong. But if we're speculating, we generally say we're speculating. So, and then we'll have a follow-up or something, but we never. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been anything heinous. But, I have necessary tunnel vision. I may have insulted somebody inadvertently and not knowing it. So if I have, I apologize, and do let me know how, because I want to learn. We got some stuff coming up on this pod that's going to angry up my blood, I guarantee you. So be sure to listen. Slug fan, hello. You've tuned in right at the end, because all I'm doing now is hand sewing. We're almost at time here. We're pretty good. So I think now I'm just spinning my wheels talking about the podcast. Pixels and Puppets, wherever you get your podcasts. FYI. Jamie, because you're all bourboned up. Keep the blood pressure down. I take this Friday, I may need it. Actually, it's good stuff that I'm gonna be talking about, so don't worry. It's just active stuff. but it's like fiery, it's like angry positivity. Here we go. What I don't know, because I haven't looked at the show notes in a while because we skipped a week. I don't know if it's going to be a deck nook. I don't think much has happened deck nook wise. I always say that, and there's always something. Valve, you got to do something before Friday, please. What's the most wonderful thing robots like to do? Gather nuts in May. Get it? Fozzie looking at a silent room .gif. All right, folks. So this is it. This is me for the next couple of hours. So I think we are going to call it. So, good stream. We got lots of folks come on by in both the usual places and on Owncast, which is lovely to see. Love it, love it, love it. So, as I've mentioned a couple of times, this Friday we are recording the podcast. This weekend, probably Sunday, I do plan on doing an Owncast gaming stream, so OperationPuppet.live, and it'll also be broadcast on PeerTube, but for a lot of reasons, I don't tend to promote the PeerTube one. That's archival. It's the Owncast that goes live, hence the name. And so yeah, that's gonna all happen. And next week should be another build stream. In fact, next week, hopefully we'll be into some commissions, and I'll have to get permission to build that stuff on stream. I'm making a mental note to do that. Yeah, anyway, thank you all, as always, for dropping by. And have a good weekend if I don't see you. And if I do see you, I'll also have a good weekend. I got nothing. I need more coffee. I'm gonna get more coffee. See you later, everyone.